This video is a brief overview of the steps involved in assembling large in-event split air handlers on the job site. Additional information on installing these units can be found in the in-event technical bulletins, curb installation, split unit assemblies, and receiving and handling. You can get copies of all these TBs from your in-event rep. Installing split units is often a complicated and dangerous operation and should only be performed by an experienced and skilled crew of workers. Every installation is different. Always think safety first and follow all applicable safety practices. Remember that during shipping, all doors are locked shut. Most doors need a 3mm hex wrench to open them, and there's a spare hex wrench attached to the document bin inside the control panel door. Before beginning the installation, check the curb that will support the air handler. For instructions regarding acceptable specifications for level and square, reference the in-event TB curb installation. When your crane is positioned for hoisting, start preparing the unit sections while they're still on the ground. Each section is clearly marked A, B, C, and so on. Check the submittal to verify what direction each section is supposed to be facing when it's installed and mark it. Find section A and locate the factory-supplied installation materials that were shipped in that section. While each section is still on the ground, remove the protective plastic sheeting from the side or sides of the section that's going to be hoisted. Install the gasketing foam tape on the surface of the split section where it will butt up against the next section. Remember that every joint between two section splits will have 2 layers of gasketing tape that butt up against each other. Rig the section for hoisting, making sure that all the lifting lugs are being used. It's the rigger's responsibility to make sure that lifting force is applied evenly on all the lifting lugs. Never try to bolt together 2 section splits and hoist them together. Hoist the first section and place it in its final position. Check your directional mark to make sure that you have the unit facing the right direction. Use 3/4 inch wood spacers between the curb and the base of the unit to hold the unit in position when you start using the first section as an anchor for pulling the other sections into position. If there are lifting lugs that will be in the way of the next section, remove them at this time and reinstall them at the exposed corner to use for positioning the units. Prepare the next section on the ground the same as the first section. Remove the plastic protective sheeting and install gasketing foam tape on each surface that will butt up against another section. Apply a coat of grease to the surface of the curb where this next section will be placed. Rig and hoist the unit and set it close to the first section. If there are lifting lugs that are in the way, remove and reinstall them, the same as the lugs on the first section. Leaving the 3/4 inch wood spacers in place, install heavy-duty come-alongs in the rear lifting lugs and connect them to the nearest lifting lugs on the next section. Draw the second section up against the first section. When you're pulling one section against another section, you have to adjust the second section side to side to get it into perfect alignment. Place a hydraulic jack under the 2 lifting lugs that are closest to the first section. Use the jacks to take up some of the load that is bearing down on the curb. This will make the second section slide easier. Using a big pry bar, nudge the second section sideways until it is in perfect alignment. Once the sections are in perfect alignment left to right, use the jacks to make a final height adjustment on whichever section may seem a bit low. When both sections are perfectly even across the bottom of the unit base, install the 5/8 inch diameter locking bolts to permanently join the 2 bases together. Make sure that all the sections that are placed are firmly bolted together through the lifting lugs before placing another section. Once all the split sections are in place, remove the wood spacers that were used beneath the first section. Go inside the units and start bolting together the joint at the floor of the units. When necessary, use a drift pin and a dead blow hammer to nudge one section into position so you can get bolts through the entire joint. When the entire floor joint has been bolted, go ahead and bolt the sidewalls into position. When the wall bolts are all in place, then do the roof joint. All bolts should be tightened one time, and then after they're all in place, go back and re-torque them till the metal posts begin to show a little compression. Always torque the bolts at least twice. When all the interior joints are firmly bolted, move to the outside and install the roof cap pieces according to the instructions in the submittal. Install the wall joint cover pieces directly over the wall joints. Using the silicone caulk that was shipped in the factory-supplied installation materials, caulk all the exterior joints that were not caulked at the factory. Carefully inspect the entire exterior of the unit for any scratches or gouges and coat them with the touch-up paint that was shipped with the factory-supplied installation materials. The cabinet sections are now complete and rewiring of the unit can start. For further information on rewiring a split air handler, see the Innovent TB Split Unit Assemblies.